It is time, ladies and gentlemen. It is game number one here in our matchup between Slayers Boxer and Maus Hasuabs. We have our red Protoss, Maus Hasuabs, spawning in the northeast position, and his opponent, Slayers Boxer, the blue Terran, spawning in the southwest.
And, you know, the one thing I do want to point out that I don't think we mentioned before, of course, Hasuabs, I think, is pretty strongly known for having really good micro. But Slayers Boxer is like the originator of micro. You know, before Warcraft 3 was a twinkle in Blizzard's eye, Boxer was revolutionizing RTS games with his control.
And, I mean, you can even go back to what Artosis is saying and find videos on YouTube that pretty much like show some of his greatest moments with the Marine micro and some of the stuff that you do with medics. And if you've never had the opportunity to check that out, you really should just go watch it and just try to appreciate how amazing they are. And, you know, I feel like some of these players that have been known for this, Artosis, you know, maybe it hasn't been so easy to find like the way to use their skills to that effect that they did in StarCraft 1 and here in StarCraft 2, but I do feel like they are starting to. Like, we're really starting to see another, you know, stage as Naruto or, you know, Goga get more and more powerful. It's like all of our players are going through the exact same transformations.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, right now, every single month, the entire skill level of all the pro gamers is just, like, doubling. It's actually insane. If you don't play for a little bit, you are going to get so passed up as people figure out new strategies, new timings, figure out how to handle the mechanics and the UI better and better in this game. And it's pretty stellar, man. People's APMs are starting to come into play. Their multitaskings are getting taxed. StarCraft 2 is turning into a beautiful game, just like StarCraft 1.
Let's talk a little bit, Artosis. Educate us, if you will. You know, we have a TVP matchup. We have these cross positions here on Crevasse, a fairly big map, but let's talk about some of the racial advantages that both of these players may have.
Well, you know, both of them can expand pretty quickly, but the thing is that expansion up on the high ground, we see the probe going up there right now, that's kind of far away from the main base, so any medevac drops from Boxer, and I know that he does love his medevac drops, are going to be really strong against that. You know, if you can draw the units out with a diversion, you know, maybe walk your army through the middle, Protoss like, oh, I have to stand in the front, you know, be ready for this. You can really use drops quite well in that situation. Now, likewise, Protoss is going to want to rely a lot on Colossus and the splash damage, or perhaps High Templars and the splash damage, but make no mistake, he's going to need that splash damage, so he's going to want to engage in the smaller corridors of the map. It's only really truly open in the middle. Everywhere else, there's kind of some ramps and little hallways and stuff that are really going to help out Hasuabs.
Yeah, and we have seen this middle area be a very popular, you know, sort of siege tank meeting place, a little union where they all have their little parties, and then make it really hard to control the various aspects. Sometimes you have to take out those rocks in order to just get good angle or be able to attack your opponent from multiple sides. Now we do have a command center going down for Boxer at the quote-unquote weak expansion, and we have 3 barracks going down, so kind of what I would expect to see out of Boxer as we get started. Hasuabs has a sentry, has a stalker. He's going to throw up a nexus also at the weak rabbit ears quote base, and we also have second gas going down for Hasuabs. So
yeah, that's I like this play by Hasuabs. You know, he's so safe at the top of that ramp. He has that single sentry out. He's seen the Reaper. He's like, okay, I kind of get what you're doing. Most likely going to be expand. So getting that robo out so he can scout. Now, in the meantime, Boxer is getting his second gas now. He has those 3 racks up, and I'm not sure how much Hasuabs actually follows the Korean scene, but it is getting pretty well known that if you are a Terran on Slayers Boxer's team, you love medevac harassment. So I'm pretty certain we are going to see the Emperor do what he is known best for in StarCraft 1.
Well, and step 1 of that process has just begun, Artosis, as the factory's been put down. Completely expect to see exactly what you're talking about. Also, you'll notice, like, at this natural expansion for Hasuabs, there is a lot of good little cloaked areas where you can drop your Marines and then stim and just run in and just wreck probes. And then, also from the top, you can kind of move all the way around. So we'll also see Hasuab spreading his pylons out, get even more vision inside his own base. His third gateway's gone down. An observer's about ready to come out for Hasu, and the expansion's well underway for both players. We do have a couple Marauders coming out. Stim and Combat Shield both underway now, and we'll be finishing soon. The starport's going down as well, so Boxer gearing up for some drops.
Yeah, he is gearing up for some drops big time, and as this observer goes in there and sees that, wow, you actually wasted no time getting the medevacs, I hope Hasuabs makes the right decision. You have to be very proactive in stopping the drops. You're going to have to leave stalkers in the right spots in your base, maybe get a photon cannon as well, and just really stop any of these drops from doing huge damage. And if you can do that while making Colossus, you're going to be ahead as Protoss.
We have the observer from Hasuabs making his way in right now. Going to get a good peek at what's going on. Going to see the barracks. He has not noticed, but there is an NG bay down, but there are no turrets currently in the base to stop these observers. So you're right. He's going to be able to have some time to react to this. Sees the factory lift. Uh-oh, now he sees the observer moving some Marines down, but he does not have a scan available. Looking at both. Nope, just a few energy away. So observer will just kind of sit back. He'll be able to continue like this pylon up here for Hasuabs. Again, a great dropship direction, so he can possibly spot with that and block if he potentially goes there. And we do have a lot of Marines moving out. There's the scan, taking out the observer. And that will be big as the medevacs do come out, and he will gear up for his first drop here.
Yeah, that's a pretty huge move, man. I mean, if you keep the observer on top of those medevacs, then that drop is never going to do damage. So Boxer was very proactive in taking that out, and this is perfect timing as well. The first Colossus is about to pop out. Hasuabs has cut a lot of corners to get that super fast, and that means he doesn't have quite as many stalkers, and his ground army is going to be a little bit weaker. So we're going to have to see, will he get in here? Surge Boxer going for the drop, but there are 4 stalkers here. Will Hasuabs see it? And yes, he does. Makes it turn around, just damages that medevac, but does not kill anything. Crisis averted for Slayer's Boxer.
Yeah, he was really fortunate to save all that stuff. Hasuabs responded very, very well. He had an idea it was coming up. The observer did at least see. He saw the medevacs early on, so he had just enough stalkers. Now he's going to have cannons here, Artosis, at his front, so that'll be even more defense against those drops. There's still a couple areas where you can get in there, but it's going to be harder to find that perfect angle. Try to sneak some dropships in. You can see Boxer still moving those around, taking his third base right now. And Factory still floating out there, starting to move up. Do have some Vikings out. We're getting +1 weapons. In fact, it's about to complete for the Terran. A little bit behind, about halfway done. For the Protoss. So here we go. A medevacs going in once again.
Well, Hasuabs playing this brilliantly, even warping in some stalkers as he catches a glimpse of those medevacs. This is exactly what you have to do. He's actually shutting down what Slayer's Boxer is known for, what he's good at, and most likely his game plan here. He wants to get some drops in. He wants to at least pick off a few probes here and there, have a couple tiny micro battles where he can just edge his way ahead a little bit, and Hasuabs is forcing him into a macro game by spending a very simple 300 minerals on those 2 cannons. I love that. Amazing decision there by Hasuabs, and they're both just going to go into third bases.
Yep, he did not, of course, overmake any cannons there. We do see a Twilight Council going down as well. And the medevacs have all but given up for any sort of drops. Of course, the Viking count is increasing to handle those Colossus. I wouldn't say that his ground army is enormous by any means. And we do have another observer scoping out the army. We have a lot more units coming out. I guess we do have a couple more barracks on the way. Currently up to 6 barracks. And the Ghost Academy is going down right now. But it's still going to be a while before he has those out and ready for battle.
Yeah, that is quite right. Now, we do have a couple Colossus in the center from Hasuabs. He has a good number of stalkers in there, so those Vikings not going to be quite as useful yet. I'm really excited to see how Boxer's micro actually stacks up against Thorazaine's. We saw perfect control engaging the Protoss Death Ball from Thorazane. If Boxer can do that as well, we might see that poor Hasuabs is in a little bit of trouble. And here he goes. He's actually going up in a snipe. Oh, almost kills it off and forces a stim. Beautiful move. No concussive shells yet. very good move by Hasuabs.
Yeah, that's actually a little bit surprising there. In fact, I think that might have been a mistake. Boxer very quickly upgrades it to it. We see an armory going down. Now, here's the big deal about this next battle that could take place is that there are 2 ghosts on the way. We've got Mobius Reactor as well. So he certainly wants to add those EMPs to his game plan. And again, versus like this huge meat shield of Zealots or even a lot of these Stalkers, you know, suddenly they just become like wet tissue paper that you can just punch through. Even more Vikings coming out, Artosis. And I mean, there's only 3 Colossus here. We do have more making. Blink is almost done as well with +2 weapons on the way. So both these guys just upgrading frantically. And Boxer's just in a little great position here along with Hasuab, so you can see each other moving out. Here we go again.
Oh, I like that move. As soon as he gets Blink, like a lot of great Protoss is trying to do, that happens. But wait a minute, what are you doing, Slayer's Boxer? What are you doing? Oh, this is terrible. This is the worst thing that could have ever happened to Slayer's Boxer, losing a ton of ghosts, losing about a third of his ground army for absolutely no reason, and now going to lose some Vikings. Everything just went wrong there for Slayer's Boxer. I can't believe he allowed that to occur, and suddenly Hasuabs takes a commanding lead, up 30 supply, and here he goes. He is going to start trying to punch a hole in this third base of Slayer's Boxer, and I mean, oh god, without those ghosts, losing those extra units, Hasuabs pulling back a little bit, but already he's done so much damage, he can easily just make more units and keep funneling in here.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he's going to do. See a ton of Zealots moving in here as well. And I just cannot believe that those ghosts just got evaporated. Some more Vikings do come into play. There are only 2 Colossus left. And right now, actually, the angle not working on that ground army, almost focusing exclusively on those Vikings. And that actually gave Boxer an advantage there. There's still a couple of Zealots left. A few SCVs lost right there, but Hasuab, I feel like he should have won that battle, but he just he just frankly didn't. What do you break that one down?
That's a hard one to break down, actually. Yeah, as you said, he was really targeting down the Vikings, which can be okay, but he didn't really have a lot of speed lots. He didn't really use Guardian Shield perfectly, nor his force fields. You know, you're supposed to kind of clump up the Terran army a little bit with force fields, or at least hold them back so that they can't start actually engaging your expensive units such as Stalkers and Colossus, and he just kind of do that. But look at that, a beautiful snipe on the command center by Hasuab while he does take the top left of the map, and it's becoming a little bit of a closer game now, but I still feel like despite losing that battle, Hasuab has to feel pretty good about where he is.
Yeah, I mean, he is a lot further in supply right now, up 22 supply over Slayer's Boxer. He's taken this base up in the far northwest corner, which, of course, unless the dropships come back out, which doesn't necessarily look like a Slayer's focus right now, or a Boxer focus right now, it's probably going to just go ahead and operate up there, feeding a lot of gas and minerals to the Protoss opponent. We got High Templar coming out, more ghosts on the way, but I've yet to see an EMP even land.
No, I haven't seen any of that, and the probes going through the center, bad AI on those probes, but he does get him away. Now, something very interesting to note is that Slayer's Boxer's medevacs have almost no energy on them, and he's producing a lot of Vikings now, so he's going to have a hard time healing up, and against Colossus, upgraded Charge Zealots, Blink Stalkers, Psystorm, this is going to be an uphill battle, especially when, as you said, he has less supply than Hasuabs at this point. It's looking like a very rough position here for Boxer, and he's not being very proactive in expanding more or attacking anywhere.
And it looks like we are going to see Hasuabs move forward. Blinks his Stalkers out of position. Gets some great storms down as the Zealots rip through a lot of these Marauders. So much damage going down. The Vikings do go ahead and take out all of those Colossus, but look at these Zealots. All of them just so hurt. And they will just move forward and be able to disintegrate everything in their path. There's just quite simply too much here for the Protoss. He's going to wait for another round of production to come out. He's going to move forward, has these Archons as well. He will blink. SCVs are pulled out, and I think this is probably going to be it, although we do have a lot more units funneling through. Again, no EMPs. He will hold this off, but just did such an amazing amount of damage. He'll be able to blink back just a little bit. Zealots are going to retreat back as well. Probably a smart move. He could apply some pressure, but obviously wasn't the killing blow right there. He's put Boxer even further behind, 86 to 139, but Boxer did shave off a good portion of Hasuab's army there.
He certainly did, but in doing so, he lost a lot of SCVs. He's down to 38 SCVs against 70 probes, so so far behind economically. Even had to cancel that command center he was making. Right now, his main base is mined out. His little tiny natural base on the cliff is just about mined out, and you know, the one at the natural, some of his patches are almost gone from mule usage. In the meantime, Hasuab's, you know, he's making another base. It's going to be base number 5. He's got healthy mining all over the place. He's adding more and more warp gates. This is almost an impossible situation for Boxer to come back from.
Yeah, I mean, he would have to eliminate those northwestern expansions, and all of his focus is on this army from Hasuab's, because it must just be this feeling of impending doom, like any moment he's going to attack, and I have to be ready for it. The problem is while that's happening, his opponent is just getting so far ahead, and we are going to see a little group move forward. Will that split up the army of Hasuab's? This is actually something that Boxer really needs right now, and it does look like it. Oh my God, so many zealots. That was a greeting that Boxer did not want to have. His medevac gets taken out, and of course, he's having to juggle between the medevac and the Viking production, as you mentioned earlier. No chance of drops getting anywhere through here. This is just looking like more and more suffocation here against Boxer.
Yeah, Boxer is starving at this point. He needs more bases. He's actually at 109 supply against 196, and I think this is going to be the final battle. That is a ton of Zealots. All he needs to do at this point is attack. Hasuab's has pretty much got this harassing Boxer's expansion with that Colossus. Now bringing it back down. Here come the Ghosts, and we do have some feedbacks going off, but does land some as well. And I think this is just going to be way, way too much, despite that Boxer taking out that single Colossus. Some very good micro, but just too much from Hasuab's. And I think this is the end of game 1 for Slayer's Boxer.
Yeah, Zealots now ripping through the SCVs. Moving forward, Boxer has to say GG, and game number 1 does go to Mao's Hasuab's. And just breaking that down a little bit, for whatever reason, we're still in this. There we go. Okay, the game's now over. You know, it all seemed like it came down. The one falter that really allowed Hasuab's to take the lead was that small little skirmish in the middle, Artosis, where Boxer lost 3 ghosts that did not do anything. You know, they even had full energy as they died.
It seems to me like it just kind of got lured up. It was like a little, maybe a third of his army, and Hasuab's just jumped all over it, man. He force fielded the hell out of it. They couldn't run away. 3 ghosts going down, plus, you know, a handful of Marauders and Marines taking damage on medevacs and Vikings, and that really, you're completely right. That changed the entire game. From there, that is, I mean, both of them were in this macro mode, and those ghosts, that's 600 gas that you are not getting back. That's some Marauders and Marines you are not getting back, and Hasuab's just played passive, upgrading, teching game, and from there, I mean, Slayer's Boxer had already had all of his drops shut down. There was nothing left for him to do. It was just a terrible spot from there.
I think people would even argue for the concept that that's one of the toughest things for Boxer as of late, is that we've really seen an inability to if something gets shut down, he has a problem basically getting his game back on track and moving forward. In like that last game we saw, the ghosts get annihilated, put you behind. You never get those crucial EMP battles or EMPs off. So there at the early game, even before the High Templar came out, there's just already a huge unit advantage for Hasuab's. The other thing I really want to give credit to Hasuab's for is that with his Blink Stalkers, he was so ridiculously active around the base. Like, Slayer's Boxer, around the map, Slayer's Boxer was really trying to keep vision of that middle so that he can anticipate when Hasuabs is going to come in for the attacks. And this guy was just all over these Marines that were trying to move out of vision while he came forward, just blinking around. And, I don't see that often enough. We see blink used when it needs to be used, but as a great utility, getting around the map, using the cliffs up and down, he really does a phenomenal job with that.
Oh, he certainly does, and I think that's something he is one of the few Protoss players really leading the charge in. It's something we're definitely going to see more of in the future. The Blink Stalkers, they are an active unit. They are like Banshees. They are like Mutalisks. They're just this extra unit that, guess what, you can, if you are fast and you are really good and smart, you can just run around and do extra things with these just because you're fast and smart. And that is a great thing to be doing, man. I mean, just damaging some extra units a little bit can turn the tide later on in the game.
I don't think anyone could explain it any better. That was very, very well said, Artosis. And with that, you are going to get rewarded with game number 2. You and the rest of the audience. So everyone give Artosis a round of applause. Before we jump in, guys, thanks again to Glider, who did the great portraits. You can find more out about him and see more of his works at theportraitart.com. And also, don't forget to check out PokerStrategyTSL3.com, the website. A lot of great focused material for the TSL3. All the polls are there as well, so make sure that you are voting for your favorites. Get your liquid bets in, all that good stuff. When we come back, it's game number 2 between Slayer's Boxer and Maus Hasuabs.